Yo, this is the Scarcity Studios YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. And our sponsors are Alpha Claims and Hire Birmingham, the leading and best accident management company. Get a replacement car anywhere in 1 hour. I really appreciate you joining me today, and this story comes from Kirby in Liverpool. A man has been convicted for an arsenal of weapons that was found in his flat after police were called over an argument with a female friend over a large electricity bill that he'd received. He was alleged to have assaulted her during a dispute, and the police were called to the Kirby home. They found firearms, knives, machetes, crossbows and 48 knuckledusters, some fitted with blades and also a cosh. None of the items seized and a deactivated handgun were illegal to have on their own in your home. But in an ammunition box on the landing of the 32-year-old's home, they found a stun gun that is illegal and also CS gas and pepper spray. Police have now released a gallery of photos to show the assortment of weapons that officers discovered on the 21st of October last year. Liverpool Crown Court said there was called to domestic violence and Jamie had become angry over the electricity bill. The prosecution said there were no charges in respect to that allegation, and the charge recommended was common assault. By the time the police came to refer the postal requisition, 6 months after it had happened, the court had threw it out. The police said they found 40 knuckledusters in a display cabinet and a further 8 bladed knuckledusters on top of a TV. The prosecution said it's not an offence to have the knuckledusters in your home. Some weapons can be kept in a display cabinet and hanging on walls. And the judge said that after hearing about the arsenal of weapons and the way they was being held, the defence could say they were being displayed. The prosecution said the Crown didn't suggest that Jamie was maintaining an arsenal for use. He said it just looks though strange and it was a genuine collection. In a pre-sentence report, Jamie had said to his lawyer that he was relieved that they had been taken. The judge ordered the seizure of the illegal weapons, but he said there was no powers in relation to the rest of the collection. But in court, Jamie Mee signed a disclaimer agreeing that he would get rid of the collection. So this is a very interesting aspect of it. Recently I covered a case on the channel where 2 people were murdered with crossbows when a cannabis factory robbery went wrong. This was featured in a documentary as well on TV recently, and it showed the severity of these weapons. There has been recent changes to the government legislation. He pled guilty to 3 counts of possessing weapons and discharge of a noxious substance. And he has 4 previous convictions for 12 offences, but all of them was before he was 20. He was spared jail for battery and criminal damage, and these were in a domestic setting. This shows that maybe he is prone to getting angry in situations to do with domestic relationships, and it's not a good thing to have weapons lying around the house if you are prone to that. They said it was a very alarming amount of weapons, and the judge said that most of the collection could not be seized. However, the stun gun and the rest of the sprays would be taken. He was sentenced to a 15-month community order and a 20-day rehabilitation order and a 2-month home curfew from 9 PM till 6 AM. And in relation to the case of the crossbow murders in Dudley area of the West Midlands, this was over a cannabis farm, and the footage was released in the documentary that showed Sajawat Ramzan and his son Omar Ramzan and Mohammed Sagia chased down Kazami Douglas, who was 19 years old, and accidentally shot his own brother Wasim Ramzan, who was 36 years old, and killed him and then killed Kasami Douglas. The Ramzans live next door to a professional and lucrative cannabis farm in the Pensnet Road area of Briley Hill. They were able to keep a close eye on it as well. But at 3:30 in the morning on the 20th of February last year, the house was raided by a gang of 10 people who were trying to steal the crop. Knowing an attack of this kind was likely, the Ramzans had amassed a huge collection, and one of them was a large panther crossbow, a smaller crossbow, a sword, knives and knuckledusters, all of which would be legal in the house. Sajawat Ramzan and his son Omar ran next door to see what was going on, while he was calling his brother. Wasim, who lived further down the street, came to help, and he was armed with a sword and crossbow, and Sajawat began to attack the raiders. He fired a shot from the crossbow that missed, They tried to run away, but one of the robbers, Kazami, was caught by Wasim and wrestled to the ground. At this point, Mohammed Sagir arrived and joined in with the attack. Kazami struggled to free himself and all three men attacked him. Sajawat reloaded the bolt and fired at almost point-blank range in the direction of Kazami, but he missed and hit his brother Wasim in the left side of the abdomen. CCTV showed Wasim removed the bolt from his body, and Sajawat then reloaded the crossbow and took another shot at Kazami. Kazami got onto his feet but then fell over later on down the road. The bolt was embedded in his pelvic bone and he suffered massive blood loss, and despite medical assistance, he died of his injuries at the scene. The others went to get help for Wasim and took him to hospital, which was not far away in Russell Hall. Sajawat gave a false account of what had happened to police about the commotion and people attacking his brother. This was in a bid to evade the police, and Sajawat, 47 from Pensnet Road, was found at a property in Stoke on the 23rd of February, and his son, aged 24, handed himself into police and said that he was in self-defence. A similar account was given by Sagia from Briley Hill, who travelled to Scotland and then Bradford before handing himself in. All three were charged with murder, and Detective Inspector Jim Monroe said all the actions of these three men were shocking, brutal and calculated. They wanted to protect a cannabis grow, and they were happy to use extreme violence in a brutal and sustained attack on Kazami. They believed they wanted to send a message to anybody that tried to rob their factory. However, Sajawat killed his own brother during the attack, which further highlights the determination to cause harm and just how dangerous these weapons are. Sajawat was sentenced to a minimum of 33 years in jail for the murder of Kazami Douglas and his brother Wasim Ramzan. Omar Ramzan, who is the son of Sajawat and the nephew of Wasim, was jailed for 22 years for the murder of Mr. Douglas and the manslaughter of Wasim. Mohammed Sagir, aged 33, was jailed for 20 years for the murder of Mr. Douglas and the manslaughter of Wasim. So this just goes to show the devastating series of events that occurred that resulted in the death of two people. So I had to double check this, and I thought I was right as well. There has been a change in the law. As of the 14th of July, it is now illegal to possess certain weapons in your house, as the government has brought in a new law called the Aim of Offensive Weapons Act. This will be tough new measures. The Offensive Weapons Act makes it unlawful to possess certain rapid-fire rifles, specific types of knives and offensive weapons in your home. Some weapons covered in the ban will now include knuckledusters, zombie knives and Death Star knives. Anyone unlawfully possessing a firearm covered by the ban will face up to 10 years in prison, and anyone who owns another weapon covered could face up to 6 months behind bars. Soon, further parts of the Act will come into play, and you will have to verify you are over 18 to buy a blade on the internet, and you won't be able to get one delivered to a locker or automated pickup point. So in actual fact, Jamie Mee was actually very lucky because his case was from 2019. So if he'd have committed that offence now, he would have actually definitely gone to prison, I assume. So this is definitely something to tell people as well, people that collect these sort of weapons, keep them on their mantelpieces at home, and maybe warn them of the changes to the law, because I'm not sure that everybody is aware of this, to be honest, because I wasn't. I had to double check. I really appreciate you joining me for this episode. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe, and please check out the website at scarcitystudios.com. You can contact directly to send your stories, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. I really appreciate you joining me today. Peace.